All right, let's dive into Aptus Value Housing Finance India Limited. Fresh press release on their Q3 2024 results. And we've got their investor presentation too. So
Lots to dig into.
really get a sense of what this company is all about. Where they're going, what these new developments might mean.
And what's fascinating is they're not just about like making loans. They're actually impacting people's lives.
Hmm.
People who might not have access to traditional banking, especially in rural India.
Yeah, before we get into the details, could you just give us like a quick overview? Who is Aptus? What do they do?
Sure. So they're a housing finance company registered with the National Housing Bank in India,
Okay.
regulated by the Reserve Bank of India.
I see. I see.
But the key thing is they've been around for 15 years, operating in 7 regions.
Wow.
And their focus is on those self-employed individuals in rural areas,
Mm.
often from lower income groups.
Mm.
And get this, a majority of their loan applications actually come from women.
That's amazing. Reaching a demographic that is often overlooked. That's really powerful. So let's get into the numbers. The press release highlighted some pretty impressive growth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
their assets under management, AUM,
Okay.
which is basically the total value of loans they're handling,
Okay.
saw a 27% year-over-year increase.
Yeah.
They're at INR 10,226 crore now.
Wow. That's a lot of growth.
Yeah, really shows their expanding reach.
And their profitability also seems to be pretty healthy, am I right?
Yeah.
They recorded an ROE of 18.54%.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sign.
That sounds good.
Means they're using their shareholders' investments effectively to generate profits.
Mm-hmm.
Shows a well-managed company. And looking at their investor presentation, their N9, that's their net interest margin,
Okay.
how profitable their lending activities are.
Okay.
Looks good, too, at 12.94%.
Sounds good.
But there is something in there I think we should pay attention to.
Yeah.
Their gross non-performing assets.
Okay.
NPAs, they've ticked up a little bit.
That's interesting. For those of us who aren't, financial experts, could you explain NPAs and why this increase, even though it's small, is maybe something to watch?
Sure. So NPAs are basically loans that aren't being repaid as agreed.
Okay.
Could be a sign of risk for the lender, right?
Right.
Aptus's gross NPA is still pretty low at 1.28%,
Okay.
but that slight increase could indicate some underlying challenges.
So maybe a bit of a, warning sign
Yeah,
amidst all the positive news.
amidst all the good news.
I wonder if their growth strategies might tell us more about this. The investor presentation outlined some pretty ambitious plans, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Expanding their reach,
Yeah.
both in terms of,
Geographically, yeah.
especially in Maharashtra and Odisha, and also in terms of what kinds of loans they're offering.
Makes sense that they'd want to, tap into new markets.
Yeah.
I'm curious about their approach to technology, though. They implemented this brand new, fully digital loan origination system.
Right.
That's a big move. It's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
This digital transformation is huge. They're using a mobile-first approach, eKYC, for identity verification.
Wow.
Even ENCH mandates for automated repayments.
Oh, wow.
All about making things faster, more transparent,
Okay.
easier for their customers.
So if I'm just the average person
Yeah.
looking for a loan from Aptus, what does this mean for me?
So imagine applying for a loan right from your phone.
Okay.
No piles of paperwork.
Yeah.
No endless trips to the bank.
That sounds much better.
This new system could mean faster processing, better interest rates,
Okay.
just a smoother experience overall.
That sounds like a win for everyone.
Definitely, yeah.
But it seems like they're also bringing on some additional expertise to help navigate this new digital world.
That's right.
They've appointed 2 new independent directors to their board,
Yeah.
Mr. Anand Raghavan and Mr. Natarajan Ramasubramanian.
Both bring a lot to the table.
Oh, what's their story?
Well, Mr. Raghavan has deep knowledge of financial regulations, corporate finance.
Makes sense.
Mr. Ramasubramanian brings years of experience from the Reserve Bank of India,
Wow.
specializing in banking policy and regulations.
So I'm hearing a theme here.
Yeah.
Do you think these appointments, along with this digital push, might be a way to address that slight rise in NPAs?
It's definitely a possibility. It could be a way to strengthen their risk management,
Right.
make sure they're operating at the highest level of compliance.
Okay, so we've got a company with a really strong social mission,
Yeah,
impressive growth, clearly dedicated to innovation,
for sure.
but also this potential challenge on the horizon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
How is Aptus going to use their strategies and this new expertise to move forward?
Big question.
Yeah.
To really get a clearer picture, I think we need to go deeper into their growth strategies and look more closely at their financial performance.
Right, let's do it.
Aptus's growth plans.
Mm-hmm.
They really highlight their focus on both home loans and small business loans.
Okay.
It's clear they see a lot of potential in these markets.
Yeah. India's economy is growing so fast,
Right.
and there's such a huge population that traditional lenders just haven't reached yet. It seems like Aptus is in a good position to tap into that.
Exactly. I mean, they've spent years building trust,
Right.
understanding the needs of this customer base.
Mm,
Their average loan size, it's actually less than INR 10 lakhs,
really?
which tell you they're not going after those like huge borrowers.
Right.
They're really focused on those everyday financial needs,
Okay.
individuals, small businesses.
So it's like they're pioneers going into this new frontier of finance,
Yeah.
using a different kind of map to navigate.
Exactly.
Speaking of navigation, their digital transformation seems to be key for them, especially when it comes to how they assess creditworthiness.
Right.
Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, so think about traditional credit scoring. It often relies on like past borrowing behavior, right?
Right.
But what about the people who are new to credit or maybe work in a cash-based economy?
Okay, yeah.
So Aptus's digital system lets them gather more data,
Okay.
go beyond just traditional credit scores
I see.
to get a more complete picture of the borrower's situation.
That's really fascinating. So they're basically personalizing lending,
Yeah.
using data to understand each person's circumstances,
Right.
rather than just a one-size-fits-all credit score.
Exactly.
So what kind of data are we talking about here?
So they're looking at things like financial transactions,
Okay.
social connections, even mobile phone usage patterns.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Mobile phone usage.
Yeah,
What does that have to do with credit?
I know. It sounds surprising, right?
Yeah.
But studies have shown that there's actually a link between how you use your phone
Okay.
and your financial behavior.
So, like,
Think about it. Paying your phone bills on time, maintaining a balance, even the types of apps you use. All of that can say something about your financial habits.
wow. Never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Seems like Aptus is really pushing the limits of what's possible with credit assessment,
Yeah.
which could be huge
Huge.
for people who haven't had access to traditional financing before.
Right. Absolutely.
But their expansion into new markets,
Yeah.
Maharashtra and Odisha,
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to come with challenges, right?
Oh, for sure.
Each region is different,
Yeah.
different culture, regulations, their own economies.
Totally.
Do you think that's where those new board members come in?
Possibly. Yeah.
With their experience in regulations, risk management?
It's like having expert guides,
Yeah.
helping them anticipate challenges,
Right.
making their smart decisions.
So we're seeing this, like, interesting dynamic. They're
Yeah.
going for growth, big innovation,
Right.
but also facing some headwinds.
Yeah.
That slight increase in MPAs, new markets.
It's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
To really understand how they're managing this,
Okay.
you should look at their financials,
Okay.
specifically their loan portfolio and funding strategy.
All right, let's do that. The investor presentation, it breaks down their loan portfolio.
Yeah.
Looks like they're diversifying.
Yeah, diversification is key for managing risk.
Okay.
Home loans are their core offering,
Yeah.
about 72% of their portfolio.
Okay.
But they also have a good amount in small business loans, like around 20%.
I noticed they have this smaller segment called quasi-home loans.
Yes.
What are those?
So these are for people who don't fit the traditional mortgage mold.
Okay.
Maybe they're self-employed, don't have all the usual income documents,
Okay.
or maybe they want to improve or expand their current home.
So they're really trying to think outside the box to meet all these different needs.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, where's the money for all these loans coming from?
So they have a pretty diverse funding strategy, which is important. For stability,
Right.
they work with over 20 lenders,
Wow.
banks, financial institutions.
So they're not relying on just one source,
No,
which means they're more adaptable.
exactly, more resilient.
They've also been using the debt market, issuing bonds.
Uh-huh.
They have a strong credit rating, too.
Yeah, which helps them get better borrowing terms.
So it's like this positive cycle, good performance leads to better credit.
Yeah,
which then helps them get more funding for growth.
that's the idea.
But let's go back to those MPAs for a minute.
Yeah.
The investor presentation mentions risk management,
Right.
but how are they actually using technology to address this?
Well, remember all that data we talked about?
Yeah, all the data they're gathering.
It's not just for credit scoring.
Okay.
It's also for their early warning systems.
So they can get a sense of how their borrowers are doing financially
Right.
and maybe spot problems before they get too big?
Exactly. It's all about early intervention.
That makes sense.
Identifying those patterns that might mean someone's having trouble.
Right.
So they can step in, offer support,
Okay.
hopefully prevent defaults.
So it's like a proactive way to manage risk.
Yeah, very much so.
But let's think bigger picture for a second.
Okay.
What does Aptus's story tell us about financial inclusion in India?
Well, on one hand, it's a story of amazing progress.
Hmm.
Aptus is showing that you can reach these underserved populations.
Right.
Give them the tools they need to build better lives.
But it also shows how challenging this mission is.
Definitely.
It takes real knowledge,
Yeah.
innovative products, new technologies.
And a constant balancing act
Right.
between managing risk and expanding access to credit.
Too much caution and you might hold people back,
Right.
but too much risk and it could be unstable.
Exactly. It's a complex situation.
Yeah, high stakes for sure.
For sure.
Aptus seems to be handling it well, though,
Yeah.
combining that social responsibility with smart business.
They've found a good balance.
What do you see for them in the future?
That's a good question.
Could they become a model for success, showing that financial inclusion can be both impactful and profitable?
It's possible.
Yeah.
To get a better idea, I think we need to look closer at their financials
Okay.
and really dig into their strategic vision.
All right, let's continue our deep dive. So we were just talking about that balancing act for Aptus, right? Managing risk while also expanding access to credit.
Yeah.
It's tricky. And makes me wonder even more about those rising MPAs. What are you thinking about how they're approaching this?
It's definitely interesting. They know the risks. That's clear.
Yeah.
And they seem to be tackling it from different sides. The investor presentation, it talks about their risk management systems, which are strong,
Okay.
but they're also using technology in some pretty cool ways to try to, head off potential problems.
Yeah, we talked about the early warning systems.
Right.
Using data to see which borrowers might be struggling. Are there other ways they're using technology to manage risk, though?
Well, their digital loan origination system.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
Okay.
By making the application process smoother,
Right.
more transparent, they're probably reducing errors,
Yeah. Makes sense.
fraudulent activity.
Oh, that's a good point. And they're probably getting a lot more information about borrowers
Oh, yeah, definitely.
than they could with a traditional system.
Way more.
Yeah.
All that data helps them really understand each borrower's financial situation,
Okay.
which can help them make better lending decisions,
Right.
potentially reduce defaults too.
It's like they're building a safety net with technology,
Yeah, I like that analogy.
catching those problems before they become huge.
Exactly. That's the idea.
It's not all about technology, though, right?
Right. It's not just about the tech.
Their understanding of their customers,
Yeah.
their commitment to serving those underserved communities, that seems like a big part of their risk management approach, too.
Absolutely. They're not just looking at numbers.
Right.
They see the people behind those numbers.
Right.
Their focus is on financial inclusion.
Right.
So they're working with borrowers who might not have typical financial histories. Building trust, understanding each person's circumstances, that's so important.
So it's this very holistic approach, combining data with that deep understanding of their customers' needs.
Right. It's both sides of the coin.
Let's zoom out a bit, though. What do you think about Aptus in the bigger picture of India's financial landscape?
Well, they're at the front of a really exciting shift.
Okay.
India has so many people,
Yeah.
and a big portion still don't have basic financial services.
Right.
Aptus is proving that you can reach them,
Okay.
give them what they need to thrive.
And they're doing it in a way that makes sense for business, but is also good for people.
It's that win-win we were talking about.
Their success could really inspire others,
I think so.
lead to big changes for millions.
It's a powerful thing to see.
But like we've said, there are challenges too.
Oh, for sure.
Those NPAs remind us this path isn't easy.
It's true. But I think Aptus shows us something important.
What's that?
Sustainable financial inclusion, it takes a balance.
Okay.
Innovation, risk management, and really understanding the people you're serving.
really understanding those communities.
Yeah, exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Aptus, here's a final thought. Will they be a model for success, proving that financial inclusion can be both impactful and profitable?
I don't know. It's an open question.
It is.
Or will all these challenges be too much to overcome?
It's exciting to see what happens.
It really is.
We encourage everyone to check out the investor presentation.
Yeah, take a look.
Draw your own conclusions. Aptus's story is still being written.
And it's definitely one to watch.
Until next time, happy diving.